E.N.D here. The set Call of Manor has just been released. Fallout, it's still being spoiled and not yet released. And what Wizards of the Coast does, they give us more spoilers, more previews for Outlaws of Thunder Junction, Bloomburrow, Modern Horizons 3 and Assassin's Creed. Anyway, let's start. And let's start with one of the most anticipated Magic sets, the Wild West set, Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Oko the Ringleader, 2, 1 green and 1 blue, 3 loyalty counters, meaning that Oko is still a planeswalker. At the beginning of your turn, Oko becomes a copy of up to 1 target creature you control until end of turn, except he has hexproof. +1, draw 2 cards. If you committed a crime this turn, discard a card, otherwise discard 2 cards. -1, create a 3/3 green elk creature token. -5, for each other permanent you control, create a copy that's a copy of that permanent. So Oko will reward you whenever you commit a crime. But what does committing a crime in Magic the Gathering means? It means that whenever you cast a spell or trigger an ability that targets an opponent or their stuff, being spells, permanents, hand, library, etc., that means you are committing a crime. A nice example in committing a crime is Hell to Pay, X and 1 red, sorcery. It deals X damage to target creature. Create a number of tapped treasure tokens equal to the amount of excess damage dealt to that creature this way. Oko's gang, one of the most important gang member is Tiny Bones the Pickpocket. For 1 black, 1/1 with that touch. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target non-land permanent card from that player's graveyard and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. Not a gang member, but probably lost. Flip it, Lost on the range. For 1 and 2 blue, 1/1, War 2. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. The top card of your library has plot. The plot cost is equal to its mana cost. You may plot non-land cards from the top of your library. If you are planning a heist, you need the big score, a bonus sheet with extremely powerful new cards. One of them is the 11th Sword, Sword of Wealth and Power, 3 generic mana, artifact equipment, equipped creature get +2/+2 and has protection from instants and from sorceries. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. When you next cast an instance or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy, equip for 2. Another big score card, Nexus of Becoming, 6 generic mana, artifact. At the beginning of combat on your turn, draw a card, then you may exile an artifact or creature card from your hand. If you do, create a token that's a copy of the exile card, except it's a 3/3 golem artifact creature in addition to its other types. But wait, there is more. There is another bonus sheet, the crime sheet, a set of spells that will help you commit a crime. One of these is Totsis, a staple card, and Crime and Punishment. Crime helps you commit a crime, punishment not. Last but not least, for Outlaws of Thunder Junction, Full Art Lands, the Western landscape basics. Next is Bloomburrow, a plane where no human exists, only animals. Mabel Hire of Crack Frame for 1/1 red and 1 white, 3/3. Other mice you control get +1/+1. When it enters, create Crack Frame, a legendary colorless equipment artifact token with equipped creature get +1/+1, vigilance, trample, and haste, equip for 2. Normal version, Showcase Woodland, and the Borderless Rise foil anime. More Bloomburrow enemies, Lumra Bellow of the Woods, 4 and 2 green, ***, Vigilance Reach. Its power and toughness is equal to the number of lands you control. When it enters the battlefield, mill 4 cards, then return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Bria Riptide Rogue, 2/1 blue and 1 red, 3/3 with prowess. Other creatures you control have prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, target creature you control can be blocked this turn. Birkel Longear of the Law, 4/1 green and 1 white, 4/4 with vigilance. Enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to target creatures. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it attacks, double the number of +1/+1 counters on it. Also in Bloomburrow, we'll have Full Art Lands, the Full Art seasonal basics. These are 4 mountains depicting 4 different seasons. Last but not least, a mysterious fox. Has Jace become a fox? Is Jace playing mind tricks on us? Or is just Wizards of the Coast pulling our legs? Who knows? Modern Horizons 3, the 3rd installment in the Modern Horizons series, a particular set that will have as its main theme DFC, double face cards. One of these double face cards will be Ajani Naktil Faraya. 1 and 1 white, 1/2, enters the battlefield, create a 2/1 white cat warrior creature token. Whenever one or more other cats you control die, you may exile it, then return him to the battlefield transformed under his owner's control. And when it re-enters the battlefield, it transforms into Ajani Noctel Avenger, 3 loyalty counters, Planeswalker Ajani. +2, put a +1/+1 counter on each cat you control. 0, create a 2/1 white cat warrior creature token. When you do, if you control a red permanent other than him, he deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to any target. -4, each opponent chooses an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a planeswalker from among the non-land permanents they control, then sacrifices the rest. It's like a mini board wipe. Eldrazi. We already knew that Modern Horizons 3 will contain Eldrazi's. Emrakul, the word anew. 12. It's a 12/12. When you cast the spell, gain control of all creatures target player controls. Flying, protection from spells and from permanents that were cast this turn. When it leaves the battlefield, sacrifice all creatures you control. Madness. Pay 6 generic mana. There's the main set. There's the borderless concept Eldrazi. There's the retro frame. There's the foil edge. And there's also the serialized borderless concept Eldrazi. And to further help you, cast Emrakul, it that heralds the end for 1 and 1 colorless mana, 2/2. Colorless spells you cast with mana value 7 or greater cost 1 less to cast. Other colorless creatures you control get +1/+1. Flare of Cultivation for 1 and 2 green. Sorcery. You may sacrifice a non-token green creature rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards. Put one of them on the battlefield tapped and the other in your hand, then shuffle. It seems that free spells are back. Psychic Frog for 1 blue and 1 black, 1/2. When it deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, draw a card, discard a card, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Exile 3 cards from your graveyard. It gains flying until end of turn. Scurry of Gremlins for 2/1 red and 1 white. Enchantment enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 red gremlin creature tokens. Then you get an amount of energy counters equal to the number of creatures you control. Pay for energy counters. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. Reprints, because Wizards of the Coast cannot release a set without reprinting everything everywhere. Layla the Blade Reforged and Priest of Titania. These will be new to modern cards. And while we are talking about reprints, the Allied Fetchlands will get a new fresh reprint in Modern Horizons 3. Bloodstained Mire, Windswept Heat, Polluted Delta, Flooded Strand, and Wooded Foothills. Normal version, borderless version, and retro frame version. And also in this set you will get full art lands, the full art Eldrazi lands. Last but not least, a Universes Beyond set, Assassin's Creed. Lately Wizards of the Coast are betting a lot on these type of sets. Ezio Auditore da Firenze for 1 and 1 black, 3/2 with Menace. Assassin spells you cast have free running for 2 black. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 1 white, 1 blue, 1 black, 1 red, and 1 green if that player has 10 or less life. When you do, that player loses the game. Ezio Blade of Vengeance, 3 1 blue and 1 black, 5/5 with Death Touch. Whenever an assassin you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Hidden Blade for 2 generic mana, artifact equipment with flesh. Enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. If that creature is an assassin, it gains that touch until end of turn. Equip creature get +1/+0 and has First Strike. Equip for 2. The Animus for 2 generic mana, legendary artifact. At the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 target legendary creature card from a graveyard with a memory counter on it. Tap until your next turn. Target legendary creature you control becomes a copy of target creature card in exile with a memory counter on it. Activate only as a sorcery. Haystack for 1 and 1 white. Artifact for 2 generic mana. Tap. Target creature you control phases out. Altar Ibn Lahad for 1 red, 1 white, and 1 black, 3/3 with First Strike. Whenever it attacks, exile up to 1 target assassin creature card from your graveyard with a memory counter on it. Then, for each creature card you own in exile with a memory counter on it, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of it. Exile those tokens at the end of combat. Ivor Battle Ready, 3 1 red and 1 white, 5/5 with Vigilance. Haste. Whenever it attacks, it deals damage equal to the number of equipment you control to each opponent. Leonardo da Vinci, the artist, the genius, the one and only. For 2 and 1 blue, 3-3. 3 and 2 blue, until end of turn. Top tiers you control have base power and toughness, XX, where X is the number of cards in your hand. 2 and 1 blue, tap, draw a card, then discard a card. If the discarded card was an artifact card, exile it from your graveyard. If you do, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 0-2 top tier artifact creature with flying in addition to its other types. There's the main set version and there's also a serialized historic figure version. These cards will come in the language of the original historical figure. Leonardo da Vinci was Italian, therefore the card will be printed in Italian. Cleopatra exiled pharaoh, 2 1 black and 1 green, 2 4. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 other target legendary creatures. Whenever a legendary creature with counters on it dies, draw a card. For each counter on it, you lose 2 life. Normal version and the serialized historic figure in Greek language, because Cleopatra was originally Greek. At least with the set, we'll learn a bit of history. Reprints a set. Wizards of the Coast will never release a set without reprinting everything everywhere. Temporal Treepass, Cover of Darkness, and Sword of Feast and Famine. Last, don't forget that Assassin's Creed will have these new Beyond boosters. Hopefully they will not flop like March of the Machine The Aftermath. So those were all the cards that have been spoiled. Leave me a comment below, what do you think about these 4 sets? And as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more and more interesting videos about Magic the Gathering and the collectible world.